Let's do some pandas. Find the duplicate records in the dataset. This question appeared in the interviews of Google and Amazon. Find the duplicate records in the dataset. Output the worker title, affected from date, and the number of times the records appear in the dataset. So in this question, they have not really given us what exactly they mean by a duplicate. Is it a combination of columns? Is it a single column? So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to assume that a combination of worker title and affected from date, and if that combination repeats more than once, that's a duplicate. So let's first explore our data frame here, which is title. So the first thing we do with pandas is, as always, we do import pandas as PD. Then the second thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at this data frame here, and I'm going to assign that to a variable called df, which is why it actually kind of makes my life easier. So df equals title, and I'm going to then explore what's inside that. So let's run it. And as you can see, we have these records here: worker reference ID, worker title, and affected from. These are the fields that we have. And as I said, for me, a duplicate is a combination of worker title and this date column here, which is affected from. So if a combination, for example, let's say manager and this date, this combination repeats more than once, that means that's a duplicate. So let's start building our problem here. So how do we know something is duplicate? We're going to have this combination, obviously, worker title affected from, and then the third column we're going to have is a count. So we're going to count how many times that combination repeats. So for that, we will have to group by. We'll have to use aggregation, which is group by. So let's start building this up. So we're going to do df dot group by, and since we are grouping this data frame using more than one column, so we're going to be using the square bracket here. So that's why I'm using the square bracket, and I'm going to supply a list of our columns: worker title and affected from. And so that's our group by. And what do I want? I want a count on that, right? So let's do count. This will give me the count of these group by columns. Let's run this. And as you can see, we have these counts, right? But it's not really showing us then those grouped columns. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do reset index. That will reset the index, because right now the worker title and affected from are actually indexes, right? Or indices. So by adding this reset index, it's going to free them up. Let's run it. And as you can see, now it looks pretty good, right? We have worker title, affected from, and as you can see, we have these combinations. So what are the duplicates here? So we have executive and lead. These two records, as you can see the count here, they appear more than once. So that means they are the duplicates, right? So let's do one thing here. So let's save this into df again, and let's do our filtration, because we don't need these records that only appear once. I mean, those are good unique records, but we only care about these two right now. Okay, so what we can do here is let's do df, and what's the name of this column here? For some reason it's worker reference ID, so let's just take that worker. You could have renamed it to something else, but I'm just going to keep that as is. Df worker reference ID greater than 1. This is going to give us a boolean, obviously. Let's run it, right? And now let's apply that boolean to df, and this will give us records that are actually true for that condition, which is this record. Which is the condition? That means the count of those duplicates is greater than 1. So let's run it, and we get 2 of these records, executive and lead. Let's see if that's the right answer. Check solution, and there you go, that's the right answer. Okay,